Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and I'm very excited to be here on this very exciting day to cover something we have never covered before on the Genuine Learning Blog, which is a tax proposal. Not tax accounting, but literally a tax proposal. However, it does address something near and dear to my heart, which is quality management. So it's an interesting day here at Galasso Learning Solutions, and we're going to try on a new area of focus, which is our tax services standards. And so this is a proposal related to the statements on standards for tax services proposals. I have never done a paid tax return. I plan to never do a paid tax return. In fact, I pay a wonderful CPA to do my tax returns for me. So this is not for the benefit of me, but it's really for the benefit of, I know many of you out there who are going to be able to speak both languages of accounting and taxation. And so this is a revised proposal here. It hasn't been updated, some of these guidance, in 50 years. So it's a little out of date, but similar to the SSTSs or the SSTSs, for those of you who do listen to the Genuine Learning Blog frequently, that's what I typically talk about. This is written by the AICPA's Tax Executive Committee, and they issued these statements on standards for tax services. So similar to SSTSs and SSTSs, the Tax Executive Committee is a standard setting body. It's a committee of the AICPA designated to promulgate tax practice. And so as a result, the ethics code recognizes them, as well as the many state boards also recognize these requirements as part of the professional rules of conduct for CPAs. And so this was just issued and proposed, I guess is the better term for it. And so what are we looking at? Well, it's actually an interesting proposal because it has two very different and unrelated parts. The first one is what we call part one, which is an exposure draft. And these are actually specific proposed revisions to the actual standard. So if they are to be adopted, it'll become effective on January 1st of 2024. Now, the goal here is to realign with the current state of the tax practice, right? Again, some of the stuff is very old. What we do as tax practitioners, or what you guys do, not me, as a tax practitioner has changed, right? Not just compliance anymore. What other services are you providing related to taxes that need to be sort of covered in here? Looking at the emerging needs of today's members, right? So this is going to be very important. And it also covers a lot of ethics, right? Because we hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards as CPAs. The second part is the part that I was actually most interested in, which is the invitation to comment. This is not a proposal. This is literally asking for feedback. So if you are a tax preparer, this is your opportunity to let the AICPA know what you think regarding potentially having a quality management for taxes. So if you've been following on the audit side of the house, we have SQMS 1, 2, we have a SAS 146, we have SARS, I want to say 26, their numbers keep changing. And as a result, there's this big focus on quality management. How do we ensure that the audit side of the house, that audit practice, the accounting practice related to comps and reviews are getting the right quality, right? So how do we add that quality management? And so it's been a big focus of the AICPA's Auditing Standards Board. The question is this something that the Tax Executive Committee should be tackling for tax preparers, right? Do we need quality standards here? And so part one really does start off by reorganizing the type of work that's being performed. So when you go through it, it's a little bit easier to read. It's not super long, but it does go chapter by chapter, kind of covering the key things that you need to know. And it does add 3 new standards. So again, data protection, something that wouldn't have been really thought about when these standards were originally issued. Reliance on tools. Again, when we think about this, the tax laws are constantly changing. There's always something that you have to be paying attention to. So how do we rely on those tools? And then representing tax clients before taxing authorities. And so those would be 3 new standards added to the existing reorganized standards. But what areas that really struck me in my attention was in the part 2, which, as I said earlier, really aligns with what the AICPA's overall focus is, which is quality. How do we ensure that all the services we provide, whether they're accounting, auditing, tax, are meeting the quality standards? And so the part 2 is a separate and independent from the exposure draft, and it basically goes through various considerations. I've kind of put some of the questions out there on what should the AICPA do in this area? What research might they want? What questions should they be asking? And again, it's going to take time to go through and define what this would be in terms of scope, how it would be implemented. So this is not something that's going to be coming very soon, right? As opposed to the 2024 cutoff, this is going to be a much longer project to kind of figure it out. And so there's going to be additional outreach outreach, there's going to be additional research. And so they're asking questions like, how do you define quality management for tax purposes? What do you think the AICPA should be doing to undertake quality management in tax? How do we continue to self-regulate, right? How should we think about these in terms of, do we need, similar to the audit standards, some type of quality management? And how do you currently approach and ensure quality management? And so they're asking for feedback so they can decide how they want to go forward, and if they even want to go forward. So as you can see here in terms of a timeline, the invitation to comment has a very long, so it's going to be explored for some time here. We're going to take the research in. They're going to do a lot of work related to it. And then we'll see something in the future. For the exposure draft, again, you're going to have the comments due. And then once the comments come in, we have the evaluation period. And once the evaluation period, they'll go through approval. And then hopefully, as we go through this, they'll have some type of final item to be effective, again, as I said, January 1st of 2024, which is the approved or the proposed effective date for these changes. All right. Well, it is a special day here in the Galasso household. My teenager got her permit. So it has been a very fun day. Always exciting as we go through. So she has a big birthday today. And so it's time for me to go and celebrate. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having you on the blog today. And I hope to see you in a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.